Hello, my name is Rachel Rummel, and this is my presentation on the Hmong cultural concerns within healthcare for Nursing 377. The Hmong are a collection of semi-nomadic farmers who traditionally used slash-and-burn techniques in the mountainous regions of northwestern China. Their culture is divided into several branches depending on their vocabulary and dialect: White, Green, Flower, and Han Hmong. The Hmong language is derived from a monosyllabic Sino-Tibetan root. White Hmong is the most used by United States Hmong. Groups of Hmong migrated from China from the 17th century through the 20th century to places like Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, and Burma, as well as Europe and the U.S. In 1973, after the Vietnam conflict, the Hmong that participated in the Secret War as agents hired by the Secret Service to aid Americans immigrated to Europe and the Americas in fear of reprisals. From 1975 to 1990, 130,000 Hmong refugees took up residence in the U.S. By 2017, the U.S. population of Hmong had been reported as more than 310,000. Historically, the Hmong have a polytheistic belief system that has aspects of ancestor, ghost, and nature worship. After the introduction of Christianity to the region, a great number of the Hmong became Christians, while similarly holding their traditional beliefs as well. Each branch of the Hmong has their own specific religious traditions, origin stories, rituals for weddings and burials, procedures, statutes, and taboos. This differentiation of cultural expression helps to define within their community where their ancestors came from and which branch of the Hmong they belong to. Shamanism is a common practice for traditional Hmong cultures. They treat sickness as a crossing of spirit and real worlds and a lingering spirit causing a sickness. They may use a spiritual practice known as spirit calling in order to either find the reason why someone is being attacked by sickness, a spirit, or to call the soul back to the body of the sick person. Other spiritual rituals are performed to bless a pregnant woman and her baby, and to see a dying person's soul to the spirit realm. Shamans may use altars with food and ceremonial items and induce trances to perform their spirit calling. Ceremonies may include all members of the family, as well as the family of the shaman, the use of live chickens, and ritualistic butchering, cooking, and sharing of the meal. Younger generations of U.S. Hmong have mostly assimilated to pop and mainstream cultures and rely on U.S. doctors and hospitals for their health care. The Hmong have a traditional, patriarchal-oriented group where men are expected to support the family and maintain traditions and spiritual practices. Women are expected to marry, drop their last names, have children, and manage the household and cooking roles. Families traditionally place more importance on the success of their male offspring. The Hmong emphasize formal education, refugees often having no access to, but appreciating education. The desire for education is often from both parents and children, with emphasis on cultural acceptance in their new homes and financial stability. The Hmong value the precept of Rao Sahib, or hard work. The educational opportunities presented in the U.S. are valued, so parents tend to stress the importance of good grades and college education. Educated Hmong are expected to return health and wealth to the community in return for the collective investment that it takes to get children through college. First-generation immigrants to the U.S. tend to be non-English speaking and have labor backgrounds, which led them to be primarily employed as farm labor and electrical assembly line work. Second-generation Hmong tend to be more educated, speak English, and are assimilated into the U.S. culture. They tend to be employed as managers, CEOs, and information technologists. Males and females are often segregated within the culture and only speak to each other, except for husbands and wives. This can cause a disconnect in medical care or translation services when the practitioner is of a different sex than the patient. The female members of the family see to the household and educational duties for the family, working with all other female members of the family. the males will work for the family, are organized in a patriarchal family style, and are the decision makers and primary speakers of the family's wishes. Talking about sexual organs with specific nomenclature or reproductive aspects of care are taboo and create great distress for the patient, especially when the gender of the patient and healthcare practitioners are mismatched. Males and females do not talk about reproduction with each other, nor do they view it as appropriate to talk openly about marital disputes or to disagree with the family patriarch. There exists a stigmatization against the usage of mental health services or other government assistance programs. No place exists in the Hmong traditional culture for the LGBTQ community, although there are some who identify as both Hmong and LGBTQ in the United States. Spiritual healing practices may conflict with medical cares. Communication and cultural understanding is key. End-of-life care wishes may include home care and privacy for the family. Believers of traditional practices may not understand incurable diseases, instead choosing spiritual healing and shamanistic medicine. Translators may have difficulty with specific medical terminology, as the Hmong tend to express themselves in parable and metaphor. The socioeconomic disparities experienced by poor refugees affect the Hmong, i.e., overall lower health and education. Hmong suffer a higher percentage of infection related to cancers such as cervical cancer and are linked to genetic variations. Hmong also have increased rates of viral infections such as hepatitis B. The Hmong suffer higher rates of diabetes type 2, hypertension, and gout than other Asians or whites. They are less likely to seek treatment for long-term diseases. Their diets tend to be high in fats and low in fiber, especially Americanized diets. The Hmong who survived Vietnam War, refugee camps, and immigrated to the U.S. may suffer PTSD and other traumas. Space may need to be provided for family members to be near the sick or dying, as well as an altar space. Food is central to ceremonies, as well as family time together. There may be conflict between generations of families, as healing practices have changed across generations. Traditional Hmong may have an older representative that will make decisions for and speak for the family. Hmong patient care should establish if they hold traditional beliefs or modern, and if they follow the patriarchal practices of their family or are self-advocates. Translation services should be tailored to cultural preferences. If traditional beliefs are held, the healthcare providers should be aware of spiritual practices and traditions. Here is a list of the references for my presentation, and thank you for listening.